and welcome back to Planet Film Network, episode 55. Welcome back, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell, and welcome back to Planet Film Live, like Sean just stated 2 seconds ago. We actually were not here last week, if you recall. I think it was like a scheduling thing that just did not work out.
My job has been extra fun lately.
Real quick, before we get into anything, I would like to say we are currently 4 subs away from 300 subs. So if you're watching this on the replay, or if you're watching this now, or if you're watching this 5 years from now, please subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely.
I think we hit 200 this year, and to possibly go up to 300 in the same year is a very big milestone for us, especially. So I encourage you to subscribe.
What did you say we hit this year?
Then we hit 200 this year, and we're about to be at 300 in the same year.
We hit 50 this year.
We did?
We hit
We hit
50.
Year?
We hit 50 in April.
Okay, well, the months are just kind of meshing together.
I mean, that's even better.
But yes. Anyway, please.
I will say this too, right here, guys.
And watch the content.
Oh, it's reversed for you. See that? It's reversed, but 91.6% of you. That means, we have family members that watch this show and watch other videos and stuff, and they're like, oh, sometimes it's just us in the chat, like but you guys have so many subscribers, what's going on? 91.6% of the people that watch our stuff are not subscribed.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people that is?
That's a lot of YouTube as well.
I think. But let's narrow that gap. Let's narrow that gap. I'd love a nice 60-40. Give me a 70-30 and I'd be happy. You know what I mean?
Speaking of just our content as well, something that I'm surprised that had very good, as you would say, legs is the Matrix reaction. It started slow, and it's just kind of been chugging its way. I think it's at 1.1K now.
Yeah.
Views-wise.
People are loving that trailer.
Yeah, so shout out to everybody that watched that trailer. And I will make it clear, no, I have not seen 2 and 3, but I will be watching them. I'm not going to watch Matrix 4 without watching 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. Some people apparently in the comments were confused by that when I said the video that I was going to watch 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I just recently watched the first one again. Very good movie. All right, so first I just want to touch on, before we get into like topics and stuff. So the season for the NFL opened this week. The Bills home opener was on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now before every game, I get pretty nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Whether it be hockey or football or whatever sport I'm watching or I'm playing, whatever, I get nervous. So going to the game, I was slightly nervous. I figured, maybe the Bills pick up right where they left off. Best case scenario, our offense is electric and the defense is kind of, defense was good last year, I would say. Not amazing or anything, but they were good. And the offense was the real kind of, that's what the Bills were known for last year, is the offense. We're going to put points up. And we started the game, punt return. We ran it back to like the Steelers 30. And then I think when they elected to kick a field goal, I think that's when I should have known this game might not go very well. Because we were very good in the red zone last year, if I recall. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen not thrown a pick in the red zone yet in his entire career, if I remember correctly. And the whole game was just like, it was so slow. And it was funny because at this game, the defense was very good. Like the Steelers didn't score. I don't think they scored a point in the first half. And Steelers offense sucked ass. They were really bad. Mm-hmm. And we finally scored that touchdown at the end of the second quarter to make it 10-0. But there was just so many like plays that we just left off on the field. Whereas like it could have easily I don't know how many possessions we had, but we had like 6 or 7 possessions in the first half, and we only got 10 points out of that, which was like awful. And I think at the stat at the end of the game, our time of possession was like 35 minutes to the Steelers 22, and to only put up 16 points total was very upsetting. The O-line did not look very good. Josh Allen, he kind of did what he could do, but the Steelers defense is very, very good. So there was a lot of time where he was running around trying to make plays, and I think everybody just had like an off game. I think the coaching staff had an off game, and I mean the only real like the biggest play was the punt block that the Steelers returned for a touchdown, and that's what I think that's when they took the lead, and then they just kind of never looked back. But yeah, it was a rough game because as soon as we scored that second quarter touchdown, I was like, oh, here we go. We're coming out second half. We're gonna roll these guys. Yeah. And that did not happen. But shout out to the defense for looking, I thought, improved from last year. And shutting them out the first half. I mean, the Steelers weren't doing much on offense anyway, but they could have still kicked, maybe gone to get a field goal or anything. But yeah, that was probably the punt return was obviously a turning point, and then there was this one play where it was like 4th and 1, and we did some weird like drop back, pitch it to Matt Breida, and one of the Steelers just like blew up the play, and we turned it over at like midfield. And I think that was like one of the biggest turning points. But yeah, and then I also just want to talk about like today they announced that like the Pagula Sports Group and Erie County executive Mark Polencars announced that you have to have at least one dose to attend either a Bills game or a Sabres game starting in October at some point. If you're 12 and up. And I'll be honest, I probably wasn't going to go to any more games this year. But what I could tell you is from going to the home opener on Sunday, it was like packed. And there was a mask thing where you had to wear it in the concourse. There was really there was nobody enforcing it. So I don't know who this mask mandate was for, but it wasn't for the fans, even though they said it was. There was no mask to be seen. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't wearing one. I honestly didn't feel like I was being forced to wear one at all. They like showed the announcements kind of on the screen. Yeah. But that was about it. The workers were wearing ones from the workers I dealt with, which was just at like one of the concession stands.
How much they charge for a hot dog?
I don't know. I didn't get a hot dog. I literally got a water and a beer, and I barely touched either.
Wow.
Yeah.
Too much of a riveting game,
No, actually, it was just I had drank too much beforehand. But
oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of people made the joke like the Sabres will not need this mandate because there will be nobody at the games, which I totally agree with. Like their product is so bad, like nobody should be buying tickets to go see. Or if you're gonna buy a ticket, it should be like $1. Yeah. But
it's that's actually probably a good point. It's probably if you don't normally go to Sabres games, this year is probably a good year to go just to go to a game. Because it's you know what I mean, just like to actually just attend one. Like if you've never done it before, or if you don't like crowds.
Yeah, even if you don't like watch the Sabres, which I really don't, you kind of know that the product has been like shit for like the past like few years. But yeah, I think it's. I don't want to get like in I don't want to talk like vaccine, stuff like that. But I think it's a good thing. And I've heard some people say like, if I knew how packed it was going to be, like this place was packed. Like it was like, so it seemed like it was sold out. I don't know if it actually was.
It was like full.
It was full. And I would have still gone, but I know there's some people that said if they knew it was going to be like that, they wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
So I think, you're going to get, of course, the discourse like online and on Twitter, like this is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But, and some people are thinking maybe this might get people to get the vaccine because if they don't, then they can't go to the game.
Well, yeah, I know one guy. It's actually a friend of my roommate's. He's very like anti the vaccine, but he goes to like a ton of Bills games, and I'm like, well, he's gonna have to make a choice because you're gonna have to do something. It's the only way.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good thing. I know there might be people commenting on this video like the screen and everything, but I'm interested to see. I'm just kind of interested to see like maybe what happens to the attendance, if it like really dips or if it like kind of stays, you know. And I wonder if they're going to be able to, because I don't know if you have this. I have like a pass on my phone, like
like the
it's called the
Excelsior
Excelsior
pass.
pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you'll have to have that, because there are people making fake cards out there. So
Yeah.
maybe you have to have it on your phone, unless they have some way of checking what's a fake card and what's not. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm interested to see kind of what the attendance numbers are and how they fluctuate.
True, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think like we said, it's just gonna be like.
Oh wait.
Don't
Sorry. My friend just sent me this I guess Sean McDermott has come out about his battles with skin cancer.
Oh,
sorry.
Jesus.
This guy my friend just like texted us in the group chat.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
Damn.
So prayers out to him if he's still battling. I didn't read the article though, but
right after you just said that he had a poor performance. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, what the hell? No, but really, yeah, like you said, I don't know. We just that's all the information we have on it. So if he's still battling it out there, you know, best of luck and everything. I hope everything turns around, and I hope he can, you know, keep doing the games and stuff. But yeah, God, what is with this show? With my yawning, I'm fine all day. I'm fine all week. It's the ring light. I think it's definitely the ring light. But anyways, okay, so Michelle in chat. Oh, shout out to everybody watching. We got 5 people watching right now. Shout out to Manifestation. Shout out to oh my God, I just realized that's the name of my sister's company is Manifestation. Yeah. I just realized that if you say it together, it's Manifestation. Am I like an enormous idiot or what?
I just kind of read it like that.
Oh my God, that's actually funny. That is the first. I think that's the first time I've said it out loud. Wow, that's funny. Okay, so anyways, yeah, welcome everybody in the chat. But yeah, Michelle in chat said they will accept the regular paper card or the Excelsior pass.
Gotcha.
I also
thought. Oh, yeah. I thought I heard you couldn't laminate the cards. Is that true?
That is true, but I will say I've seen it work. Like a ton of people with laminated cards. Right. Because like for some reason people have been. I mean, they always do, but there's been a lot of like lost wallets lately. And when we go to check them, like people, surprisingly, people have like their vaccine card, and every single one that I've seen that has a vaccine card, which I've probably seen like 10 in the past like 4 months, they've all been laminated. One guy even had like a little mini version of it, like a little wallet size version of it that was laminated, and I was like,
interesting.
I almost was like, is that real? I was like yeah, I almost was like thinking about that. Yeah, like Michelle said, you can't laminate it, but there's other states are doing plastic cards and stuff. I think in New York, I think what they want you to do, and I think the safest thing to have is that Excelsior pass on your phone, because it's encrypted. It's from the official state thing. It's got the QR code. Like there's no.
Yeah. Last thing I will say. Sorry. Yeah. Last thing I'll say about vaccines is mine. I don't know if I don't know if we're giving out too much information about ourselves. Like I don't know if we're gonna be able to. You know, because they said you're not supposed to take a picture of your stuff. I mean, that's not what I'm doing. But mine it says it expires in October.
Oh.
So I don't know what that means. Like if it's just going to renew itself automatically, because the whole booster shot thing, they haven't really said anything about that. So I don't know. But yeah, I found that kind of weird. Do you have you said you do have the pass?
I don't yet, but I've been meaning to set it up. But I'm gonna add it to like my Google Wallet.
Right.
But yeah, that's crazy though. All right, so let's move on to first main topic, which is gonna be the box office this week. So first up here, we have coming in at number 1, in its second week at 34.7 million. We got Shang-Chi, sorry. In its fifth week at number 2, or its fifth week overall, still holding strong at number 2 at the box office, is Free Guy with 5.5 million. Then we have Malignant coming out at 5.4. Candyman in its third week at 4.7, and Jungle Cruise holding in 7
Still
weeks.
hanging on. Damn.
Yeah, hanging on in its 7th week, hanging in there in the top 5, bringing in a small but still enough to keep it in the top 5, $2.3 million. So obviously we didn't have the show last week like TJ talked about earlier, but I just want to discuss a small film. It's a little independent movie. It's called I believe it's called Shang-Chi. No, really. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has been an absolute monster at the box office. Considering the pandemic. I mean, it made...
Right. Yeah.
It has made a crap ton of money given the pandemic, because, I mean, this is stuff that, like, let's see here. I'm going to... let's see.
And I think there's no argument it would have made, like, probably way more if there, of course, was no pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it
still made a lot of money
it possibly would have made, over 200 million in its opening weekend. I mean, like, conservatively. Right. Like, that is a very real possibility. So yeah, let's just see here. So the overall number worldwide, Shang-Chi has brought in $260 million already, and it has been out for 11 days. 11 days. $260 million in the middle of a pandemic, without a Chinese release, which is a huge chunk of box office for films normally in the theatrical markets. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. But that is just with, Europe, any territories like that. It has not yet released in New Zealand or Australia due to their, lockdown stages that they're in right now. Cinemas are closed in those countries. But if anything, that just shows even more how much of an impact this movie is making, how much people are loving this movie, is the fact that it is making this much money in the face of those obstacles, which again is something that's incredible. And like TJ said, definitely would have stand to gross even more if you didn't have the pandemic to take into consideration. But I just want to compare real quick. So Shang-Chi is currently at 260 million worldwide. Black Widow, so this is the previous theatrical release within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, worldwide total. So this is total. It still is playing in select markets, just because there's not much coming out and bigger cinemaplexes and stuff. So it is still playing in a certain number of theaters. Right now it's still playing in, let's see. Right now it has about 200 or so theaters left, about 250 theaters left. And it made total $370 million. So, and that is in a 2-month full box office run with the additional, the Disney Plus release, which of course played a big hand into why this didn't earn as much. Versus Shang-Chi making that much in 11 days. So, I mean, I'm just trying to make the comparison of the two of...
Right.
I mean, give Shang-Chi another 2 weeks, and it'll make what Black Widow made in its entire theatrical run. Which is just absolutely crazy. Which, again, is exactly what we predicted, what we foretold on this show would happen when we looked at movies like Free Guy, movies that did not go to streaming, movies that stayed purely theatrical. They had a huge impact at the box office, and you cannot deny that is because of going purely theatrical. If you only give people one venue, to experience your content, to see your film, they have no other choice than to go there, and that's just how it works. Like, that's what I don't understand with these people, but. What can you say? That is how the cookie crumbles on that. But we'll be talking another story later on in the show about some studios are beginning to see the forest for the trees, if you will, and are beginning to see the errors of their ways and change things around. But yeah, big story out. Shang-Chi, biggest thing. Free Guy holding strong at number 2, and then Jungle Cruise, man.
Still
Like, holy crap. Jungle Cruise, week 7. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, great stuff. So what are your thoughts? What are some of your takeaways? What do you think about some of the box office reports that we've gotten this week?
I'm not surprised about Shang-Chi, really. It's a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my, well, I guess you'll see if you watch TikTok or the YouTube short that Sean puts out, you'll see where it ranks in my MCU rankings. What do you say was second? Free Guy? Free Guy, I am kind of surprised.
Is in its 5th week.
And it's in second.
Yeah.
So I am kind of surprised by that. I know you said it was really good, but again, it doesn't seem like a movie maybe that would catch everybody. Nor would it be a movie that, everybody would be, again, like attracted to or anything. And Candyman was third, which was Candyman 2 weeks ago.
Candyman was, it's in week 3, so it was
in week 3
weeks ago.
So I think that's still good for that, still holding strong.
Wow, look at this. So I'll tell you this.
Okay.
Free Guy.
Oh, sorry. Malignant was 3. Candyman was 4. My bad.
Yeah. So Free Guy. So typically a film, I know TJ knows this, but for anybody who's watching that doesn't, typically a film, an expected drop-off, like a drop-off percentage week to week, is like 50 to 60% drop-off. That's a good return. That's a really good return for a movie. Free Guy's lowest drop, or biggest drop, however you want to say it, was from week 1 to week 2, and that was 35%. It dropped 35, and again, 60% is a great drop. That is like, your movie's going to make a ton of money if it only drops 60%. Free Guy's worst drop was 35%. Then the following week, it only dropped 30%. Now this week, it only dropped 26%. It's almost leveling off. That is insane. The last thing that I remember that acted like that at the box office was Greatest Showman, which Greatest Showman had a very low, very subpar, not great opening weekend. Then had a pretty steady drop for the first week, and then the drop started to get less and less to the point where then actually, come January, Greatest Showman started going up. The Greatest Showman increased its percentage at the box office. I mean, that was really kind of like a box office anomaly. But more power to the Greatest Showman. It made ridiculous amount of money. But Jesus, this is crazy. And then another thing that is an indicator of good change is in its 3rd week, it dropped 220 theaters. In its in its 4th week, this past week, it gained 200 theaters. It added theaters back. That's crazy. That's some legs on Free Guy.
Yeah. Oof. And I think this is even like again, this is another like kind of indictment on the whole day and date kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know Free Guy wasn't obviously release day and date, but even though Malignant is which was day and date, is at 5 million, it's in 3rd, its first week. Who knows what that could have done if it wasn't?
Absolutely.
Maybe you double that. Because I don't know. Again, I don't know the. It is. I know it's James Wan, and he's obviously done Conjuring and Insidious, everything, and Aquaman. But I feel like maybe it's people don't know it as well, but people know Candyman, so maybe because I think Candyman was probably a bigger opening, right?
IP, yeah.
And
see,
IP,
actually,
but just But yeah, who knows what who knows what Malignant could have done, and again, Shang-Chi is still going strong, and again, just a indictment on the whole day and date thing, which I think is very good.
Oh, granted, you said you think Candyman was right? Yeah.
Candyman was bigger.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
Candyman was. Oh wait, that can't be right. Did I miss something up? Hang on. Huh. Oh no, duh. Cause yeah, I was looking at the wrong week. Yes, it made a lot more.
Okay,
It made a lot more. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong
very
week.
good. But yeah, even though again, day and date is good for some people. You know, people have kids, stuff like that, can't go out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that again, I think like I feel like one of the only compromises is to lower that kind of theatrical window.
Mm.
Because I think didn't AMC do a deal with Universal about it being like a 45-day thing or something like that?
Yeah, and now that's the normal. That's the norm now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
no pun.
think
No
I
pun
think that
intended.
helps. Like I think, you know, while people won't
Mm-hmm.
be able to watch it, if you have kids, you can't go out, stuff like that. You're still waiting a smaller amount of time to see it. So, that might help. But I know,
Yeah,
some people enjoy the whole day and date thing, which I get.
absolutely. Whew, jeez. All right. Well, let's move on to our next topic, which is very, very unfortunate news. Which is earlier today, news broke that comedy icon and former host of the Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, Norm Macdonald, very sadly and very tragically passed away at the age of 61. Um, After a very private and they say intense battle with cancer for the past 10 years, um,
Mhm.
which is like just unfathomable. I mean, it's the same thing you think of what happened with Chadwick, like with Chadwick Boseman. He was doing this thing,
Right.
constantly working, like right up to the end, dealing with this thing that nobody knew about. You know what I mean? Like close
Hmm.
friends and people very close to him knew, but like just it's just awful. Like to
Yeah.
me, honestly, like uh, I don't know. It's like it's kind of hard to talk about. Like to me, this really like hasn't hit as a celebrity death like this hasn't really hit me as hard since like when like Robin Williams died. Like when I was a kid, not when I was a kid, but you know what I mean. Like
I know what you mean. Yeah.
when I was like in high school, in like middle school, high school, like I think I was a
Mhm.
freshman or something when Robin
Right.
Williams passed. But I mean, if you know me as a person, I'm a very well, I try to be a very uh, comical person, and
Right.
three of the people that I always watched and loved as a kid, and still watch and love is Robin Williams, like Conan O'Brien, and Norm Macdonald were like my three
Mhm.
people. So that's really I worked today. I was literally on the phone with my roommate, and as soon as I saw the headline come up, I literally just like hung up the phone because I was just like I can't like it was very very hard um,
Hmm.
when I heard the news, but and especially just how young he was, and also it's so funny because like I've had a lot of poor timing with my streaming services this week, so my Hulu is off because I forgot to pay
Hmm.
it last 2 weeks, and with getting paid bi-weekly is a bitch when you have like streaming services on every
Right.
other week.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I was like looking through my other ones to see what to watch, and I turned on Peacock and I turned on the SNL Vault, which is they just 24 hours a day. I've said it when Peacock launched. We talked about it on the show.
You
My
said you
favorite
like the
feature,
channels.
exactly. My favorite
Yeah.
feature of Peacock is the 24-hour channels. They have one that just plays The Office on random episodes of The Office. I think more streaming services should do that, but that's aside the fact. I was watching the SNL Vault and I watched one that the first one I watched was from 1975 or 76. It was Peter Boyle hosting from like Young Frankenstein, Everybody Loves Raymond, Santa Claus movies,
Mhm.
all that. And I was looking it up, and I was like, man, Peter Boyle, he died when he was like 71. I was like, that is
Mhm.
so young. And
Yeah.
I was like, think of all the comedy that we could have had I mean, look at Mel Brooks. The man's gonna be 100. You know what I mean? Like,
really? I knew
yeah,
he
like
was older, but I didn't.
I
I
think he's
didn't
like
realize how old he
90.
was.
He's like 97 or 98, I think. And
Wow.
Betty White, she is going to be
Betty
100
White,
this
yeah.
year. Like, think about how much and those people, Dick Van Dyke, Mel Brooks, Betty
Yep.
White. You know what I mean? Carl Reiner, just a few weeks ago, Ed Asner, they were working right up to the end of their life, and I was having this conversation with myself because I got out of work at like 1 a.m. last night, or at like 12 a.m. last night. So I was up super late and I was just like watching this stuff and I was having this conversation with myself where I was like, just think about how much more comedy he could have done in that 30 years. And then right after that, because it doesn't go in order, right after that was then we jumped up to the early 90s, late 80s, and it was Norm Macdonald was in the opening sketch and I watched that. It was an episode where he was hosting Weekend Update, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Mel Gibson, Mel Brooks is 95." And I watched all the way through Update and the end of the show and everything, and I was just like, "Man, Norm Macdonald, just what a freaking guy!" Like even when he was younger, whether it's Norm Macdonald Live, which I think there's a whole legal battle going on with Norm Macdonald Live was it was like one of the first internet shows. It was exactly like what we do basically.
Oh, okay.
It was like an internet talk show basically, that then got bought by Netflix and turned into Norm Macdonald, or the Norm Macdonald Show on Netflix. Which, watch that if you haven't. It's absolutely great. It was a talk show on Netflix that I was rewatching all of it just maybe 2 months ago, and I was like, man, I hope when the pandemic's over they do another season of this. And like, I don't know, he was just one of those guys that in a lot of conversations and stuff, and I guess now we know why. Like, it was a lot of retrospective stuff on, death and stuff. Like, they talk about that a lot in like the Jane Fonda. There's an episode with Jane Fonda, where they talk about that a lot. His episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee is great, obviously, but in terms of Norm Macdonald Live, that was a really like uncut, untamed show, which is what Norm Macdonald was known for. He obviously over the years he got himself into a lot of hot water, was on a lot of morning talk show appearances to apologize for things, but he never crossed that line of, I'll just say it, he never crossed that line of anything that would get him like Me Too'd or genuinely a rotten person like there is in comedy. He just liked to toe that line, and sometimes he would toe it a little bit too far, and he would make his apology, and then he would be like, why are you bugging me about that? Like, he kind of reminded me of like Bill Burr, where it's like, you're coming after me for this, well, why aren't, like, it's that famous Bill Burr thing where he's like, where the newscaster says to Bill Burr, don't you think you went a little too far with the Catholic Church jokes? And he's like, don't you think the Catholic Church went a little too far? Like, that's like like that was a Bill Burr thing, but like that's the kind of like humor that Norm Macdonald had. Like, but yeah, Netflix bought Norm Macdonald Live, and there's like 100 episodes of Norm Macdonald Live, and they like bin them. They remove them from the internet, and they're nowhere to be found. And I was like, honestly, one of the first things that went through my head was like, I would love Netflix just to honor the guy. He's obviously not going to make money from it now. Like, that was the reason, I guess, that they pulled it, or some crap like that. Like, release him. Like, maybe not on Netflix, but maybe on like the Netflix YouTube channel or something, or I don't know, on the actual YouTube channel that the show used to live on.
I was just thinking, I was like, oh, maybe I could watch them. Apparently not.
Yeah, no, you could watch the first 3 episodes, and then you can find pirated versions of the podcast form, like the audio, on certain websites and stuff, but that's it. But you can watch the first 3 full episodes, which are really good. I really recommend it. It's him and Adam Egget, who was the manager of the Comedy Store for a long time.
Okay.
And I actually haven't seen on Twitter what Adam Egget said about it, but their chemistry was great. One of the best things ever was the Stephen Merchant episode of that was like absolutely hilarious. But you can still watch the funniest like clips and highlights and stuff. They're all over YouTube. And if anybody watching like doesn't know Norm Macdonald or anything like that, just look up Norm Macdonald. Yeah, just look up Norm Macdonald funniest moments on YouTube, and you will just die. Like, in the words of Edgar Wright, who I'm looking at right here, Of the many addictive rabbit holes you can disappear down the internet on, the most pleasurable is Norm Macdonald chat show appearances. Thanks for the laughs, Norm. Very sorry to see you go. And then, like, just the outpouring of support from everybody and just, like, thoughts like Jim Carrey. You know, my dear friend Norm Macdonald passed after a brave 10-year battle. He was one of our most precious gems, an honest and courageous comedy genius. I love him. Steve Martin, Seth Rogen did a huge like paragraph. Jon Stewart, Jonah Hill, Bob Saget, Josh Gad, yeah, like everybody. Comedy Central.
And I told you kind of before the show, like I know him probably for the most like the dumbest things.
Yeah.
Like I know him as a voice on Family Guy. I just looked. I could have sworn he was been on like 20, 50 episodes. He's only been on 2, but he is so like his voice is so memorable to me that like as soon as if you told me like he was in blah blah this movie, I'd be like oh yeah I remember him because I just remember his voice. Yeah. And then I've also seen him. I think it was like a month or 2 ago. Me and Danielle watched the Bob Saget roast because when I was a kid. I tried to watch. We watched. Me and my cousins watched it on vacation, and our parents got mad at us. But I remember him, and I remember him being very.
Yeah.
But yeah, terrible loss, and our thoughts go out to his family.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move on to some other bad news, which, unfortunately, unfortunately, with last week's show when we missed, hang on, let me try to actually get it pulled up here before I get ahead of myself.
What did we miss?
Well, we missed that. Oh gosh, what did I just do? I'm so distraught. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons.
Okay.
Hold up. Oh my god.
What is that from?
We're almost there, everybody. We're almost there. Let's just everybody calm down. All right. So, I don't know why I was so enthusiastic because it's horrible news. Michael K. Williams also unfortunately passed away last week. We missed it by missing the last show, but just absolutely tragic news again. Again, somebody super young. 54, even younger than Norm Macdonald. I mean, like the whole point I was trying to make with the Peter Boyle thing was I was thinking about how much more comedy Peter Boyle could do with 30 years. Norm was 61. You could have 40 years left. I mean, Michael K. Williams was 54 years old. I mean, he was a brilliant dramatic actor, obviously, with The Wire, Boardwalk Empire, all that stuff. But he was also super funny. Like, he was in, TJ, I can never remember where you're at with the show or if you watched it or not, but he was in, 3 episodes of Community as...
I've never watched that show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
he was in 3 episodes of Community. That he was just so funny. He was like a new visiting professor. And he gave this, like, beautiful, like, dramatic, but also, like, obviously funny speech about... Oh, yeah, and he was a professor that had just gotten out of prison. And he gave this, like, beautiful, dramatic, like, monologue lecture speech about how Lego has changed. Like, how Lego was different before he went into prison versus now. And it was just, like, the funniest thing. And he was just so, like, deadpan, just such a great performer and everything. Yeah, they found, unfortunately, it was a suspected heroin overdose, which is, just awful. They found him, alone in his apartment in Brooklyn, which is just terrible.
It's so sad, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you watched or, had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, that was another one that, again, I wasn't as familiar with his work. The only thing I've seen him in was he was in 1 episode of The Sopranos, which at the time when he passed away, I literally just finished.
Yeah.
So he was very good, and I think maybe what he's most known for is The Wire, which is a fantastic show that I basically probably is my next. It's probably my next watch after The Sopranos.
Yeah, I gotta watch that too, The Wire.
Yeah, but I know people loved his character.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's one
and,
thing. I mean, whenever
yeah,
whenever you hear The Wire being talked about, they say, you know, Stringer Bell, obvious. Like, I've never seen it, but like me and TJ, all we watch movie, TV commentary, and YouTube stuff all the time. So it's like, you know, like whenever people talk about it, they talk about Stringer Bell, just, you know, Idris Elba's character, and then, you know, Omar Little, which is, you know, like just the fact that I know those two characters' names, but I've never seen a single, you know, frame of the show, just goes to show. I mean, it's goes to show that it's, you know, a huge impact that he can have, even in small roles. Yeah, but I just think that's amazing. Very good. Let's see here. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to a little bit of better news. Hopefully, now we gotta get that very much sadness behind us, and that is that the Batman, which has already had multiple spin-offs in development at HBO Max with the Gotham PD show, is now going to have yet another one in the works, which is going to be Colin Farrell coming to HBO Max to do a, I guess you would call it a solo series of the Penguin. So this is the Penguin from the Matt Reeves Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman, the one that we saw in the trailer, the one that you guys are looking at on screen right now, obviously. That he will be getting his own series, and it will have Colin Farrell returning. The show has apparently been referred to as basically like a Scarface type TV show about the Penguin. So
I believe I've heard that he's been approached, but we don't know if he's coming back. I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
well, I think this
really
whole
trying to
thing
get him
is
back.
just rumor right now, but it's rumor
right.
from Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and stuff. So it's, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but it's not like it's coming from, as John Campy would say, you know, John's movie farts fart or whatever.
I think this says a lot about the Batman as a movie. I think we all expect it to be very good. I think there have been like test screenings or something. People said it's very brutal and, you know, dark and heavy, stuff like that. And I don't think this is something that would be in development if the movie was bad.
Yeah.
For example, like also look at Dune. Dune has a spinoff in the works, and you know there have been some reviews that have been kind of on it, but it's been genuinely like positive. So like same with that. Like if they were bad movies, I don't think they would do spinoffs.
Yeah.
Especially for something where you're spending the money and you're putting on a streaming service, so you're not charged. You know what I mean? Like you're only getting the money from, and it's not directly related to the product. You're getting the monthly subscription, but you're not getting money directly from. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of instills confidence not only in the movie, but as well as, you know, they're probably going to do more spinoffs. And same with, like, you know, even again Peacemaker too. Suicide Squad wasn't a good movie. They probably wouldn't do a spinoff with a character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that's the same thing. I think, you know, I don't want to say who came first or what they're doing or if it was in an answer to that, but I mean it's no denying the Disney Plus Marvel shows have been very successful for both the franchise and the platform as well, constantly growing the subscriber base. We're going to talk about What If in a little bit here. And I think DC is seeing that. Warner is seeing that, and they want a little bit of a slice of that. And I think, like you just said, I think it's absolutely genius. You know, I do hesitate to say that, you know, Marvel did it first or anything, because DC actually was the first one to have movie budget, movie caliber cameras and stuff, live action superhero TV shows, which was, you know, Titans and Doom Patrol on what used to be DC Universe. I mean that way predates, you know, WandaVision or anything like that, regardless of the pandemic. I mean, Titans is on season 3. You know what I mean? Like that was definitely kind of DC's bread and butter for a while there. Obviously, also coming off the back of not high budget, but very well received with their CW shows for a time. Now it's a little more questionable. But for a time, those CW shows were very well regarded and very well received. So yeah, I am excited for this. Like you said, the Peacemaker show, like we talked about earlier, the Gotham PD show. We're getting the movies as well, the HBO Max movies with Batgirl, Static Shock, Blue Beetle also. So I'm really excited. If half of the future of Marvel lies on Disney Plus, I'm equally excited if half the future of DC lies on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
yeah.
I completely forgot about the Static Shock movie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we bring it up like every few weeks, and I'm always like, oh yeah, I forgot that was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. And I expect it to be high quality.
Absolutely.
Everything they produce basically for HBO Max.
For sure. I gotta say, just real quick, I'm super excited for Peacemaker. Just that's it. I'm just super excited for Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I didn't make it a story. I think it's 10. I think it's 10. It might be like 8 though. Might be something like that.
Okay.
I would say either 6, 8, or 10. I feel like the days of 13 are gone. Let alone the days of 20 and 25 on network. Just if we're talking streaming, I think the days of like 13 episodes, which used to be the norm, I think those are gone. I think they realized they can make a real good product with 6 to 8 episodes, and just knock it out of the park. And more power to them. You know what I mean? I will take a show. If it means that a show with 10 episodes can do twice as much or 3 times as much in a single episode as like a show with 20 episodes, sign me up. I mean, you know what I mean? That's what helps them too, is the fact that, you know, there's the lower episode count. They can really pack it full of a lot more budget. But yeah, I'm super excited for that. But yeah, like I was saying, I didn't make it an article. I didn't make a graphic or anything, but we did get a first image of Peacemaker. And it was basically a bunch of the team sitting around. The one interesting thing in it is that there is somebody next to Peacemaker in a superhero or supervillain outfit. People are suspecting that it's Vigilante.
Who is that?
So that is a character that I've seen many, almost every person I've seen talk about it get wrong, which is they're saying that this would be his first live action appearance. He was in Vigilante had a huge storyline on the second to last season of Arrow. So that was I'm like, it's definitely not his first time. It might be the first time with like a comic accurate suit and stuff, but it's definitely not the first time the character's been in live action. I also think Vigilante appeared in Smallville, if I'm not mistaken. But then again, who didn't? But yeah, so he's basically exactly what it sounds. He's like a Batman, Deathstroke, you know, Bloodsport, Deadshot ripoff, that kind of thing.
Jeez, a lot of people.
But well, yeah, I mean, you throw Deadpool in there too if you want, if you want to cross the aisle. But really, yeah, I mean, it's kind of in that vein. You know, he's a vigilante. He's got a cool backstory. I'm not as familiar with his backstory in the comics. I just know like kind of like the top line type stuff of it. Because I think that they really changed the backstory with Arrow to make him fit in with a pre-existing character. They introduced him as like an old, like, thought dead love interest of one of the main characters. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, nonetheless, I do love if it is Vigilante, which we don't even know if it is, just going off that one. It's really just going off the design on the chest that people are suspecting that it's Vigilante. But if it is, I like the look of the suit, and I like the fact that he looks like some dweeby guy. If he's like this badass vigilante shooting people up, killing people, like badass fighter guy, but then when he takes his mask off, he's like this guy with these big glasses, which is what that picture looked like. That's so funny. I would love that. That seems like such a James Gunn thing to do. So yeah, I'm super excited for that. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for Peacemaker for sure. TJ, are you excited? What if I told you 3 names? Okay. What if I said Danny DeVito? What if I said Arnold Schwarzenegger? And what if I said
Eddie
Tracy?
Murphy. No.
You would think.
I thought you were gonna say triplets. I was like, oh, there's triplets news, but there's not. Okay.
There is triplets news, and it's disappointing to me and disappointing to you.
Oh.
It is moving forward without Eddie Murphy. So they have cast Tracy Morgan as the third brother. So I'm still on board because I love Tracy Morgan.
I like Tracy Morgan.
Unrelated to this, I actually started watching 30 Rock the other day on Peacock. Really good. I mean, Tracy. I've never seen anything of 30 Rock before, and it's obvious it was really good right from the start. So I'm definitely gonna finish it. But yeah, so this is the news coming that
interesting.
Starting cracking first month, January 2022, it will go into production. Triplets is moving forward. There's not much information as to why potentially Eddie Murphy dropped out. But yeah, so 33 years after the original, they are moving forward with triplets with the original two plus Tracy Morgan.
You ever seen Twins, right? Is that what it's called?
Of course.
I watched it like 2 years ago, so I don't remember. But you watched it? Okay.
I love
Funny movie.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how this goes because they're both significantly, okay. They're both definitely older than they were when they filmed the first one. So I'm just kind of interested to see kind of what the plot is. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And there's a good chance it could go badly.
and is it going to be funny? That is the main thing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I am very interested to see, or we probably will never ever know, but why maybe Eddie Murphy dropped out. Like, was he just busy? Like, is he going back into?
I think maybe he's got other things. I feel like I've heard like a lot that he wanted to go back into stand up and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I would love. So, if that's the reason, sign me up tenfold.
That would be so great. He's doing, true. Or no, he's not in the Haunted Mansion thing, is he? Forgot about that.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty freaking cool news. Next up, I'm not typically one to go in on, Hollywood gossip or, anything like that, or like, who's together, who's not together, this, that, and the other, TMZ breakups. But there has been a major breakup in Hollywood that we need to talk about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And
the only relationship I know about that is back is Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. So I don't know what.
Oh no, not that, but that's great for them. Great for them. For them. So happy. Everybody that went to the Met Gala, you're all incredibly rich and incredibly beautiful. Enjoy your dresses and everything. You all look great. Have a nice rest of your week. I am, of course, talking about one of the longest Hollywood relationships has come to a close, and that is Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers Media.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have Christopher Nolan. We had reports throughout the last couple weeks. They've really been kind of picking up speed, but in the past few months is really when things started going off. Which was that Christopher Nolan, his new movie was going to be again set in World War II. This time about Robert Oppenheimer, like Dr. Oppenheimer, and the atom bomb and all that stuff, which sounds really cool. Killian Murphy is in heavy negotiations and rumors to star. So I think that sounds really, really good. The only thing that didn't sound good to Chris Nolan was Warner Brothers, because him along with Denis Villeneuve, they were the two out of everybody that got screwed in the whole move to streaming. The two of them were furious. I mean, Denis, he took out an op-ed in the New York Times.
I don't care about Nolan, but how you about to do my man Denis Villeneuve like that?
Exactly. Like, when all he's been doing, he's been giving you the best movies of the year,
great products
for a decade. I mean, so is Chris Nolan, obviously. They both have.
Yeah. Like, although, was he directly involved with Warner Brothers before Dune? Like, were they...
Right?
because I don't think it was a relationship like Chris Nolan.
Oh, you're right. Actually, you're right. Yeah, Dune was the first one that he did with Warner.
Okay, but
No, yeah, it wasn't a relationship
but
with
he
Chris
still
Nolan.
put out
Yeah,
a great product
yeah,
consistently over his career. So
like
but yeah,
Chris Nolan and Warner Brothers. That was like they rolled deep. Like
yeah,
this is no small thing. We're talking almost every one of his movies. Like
hmm
going all the way back to 2005. Since 2005, Chris Nolan has put out, I think, 8 movies since 2005, and they have
yeah,
all been with Warner. He works at Warner Brothers. He when he goes to his job, it is at the Warner Brothers lot. Like this is like a sever. This is bad. I mean,
hmm
for Warner Brothers, not for
bad for
Chris
one,
Nolan.
yeah.
Um, because long story short, the news that came out a couple weeks ago about his next film was that he was shopping it around, and Warner Brothers was
Mhm.
not on the list. Just the fact that he was shopping it around was news, and then the
Yeah,
fact that, like, because it would have been news if it was like, okay, yeah, Warner Brothers is an option, but he's shopping around. He said Warner Brothers is not an option. I'm shopping around to everybody but them. These guys stabbed me in the back, screwed me, 6 ways to Sunday. I'm not going back there. And so Universal is who Chris Nolan chose. Probably got a very, very good deal. It's very early stages here. This news literally broke at 8 a.m. today, like literally this morning. So it's
hmm
very early stages. We don't know if this is a multi-picture deal, if Universal is going to be his new home, if he's going to be kind of bouncing between places. I think if I had to guess, he's probably going to be bouncing between places. I don't think he's going to want to settle into another thing like that again and then, get screwed again. I think it's really going to
right.
affect him going forward what Warner Brothers did, because really they did. They screwed him. They screwed him and they screwed Tenet. I mean, as much as I know we said we were going to stop talking about Tenet like 6 months ago, but as much as we got annoyed at Tenet in our old segment like Tenet talk and stuff, they really screwed that movie. I mean, the only reason
They
that people
did, yeah.
got sick of Tenet is just because everybody was talking about Tenet. But if you take that out of it, I enjoyed the movie when I finally sat down and watched it. It's a Chris Nolan movie, but man, they cut that. I even don't even want to say cut it off at the knees. They cut it off at the throat. Like they murdered that movie,
hmm
and no wonder. I mean, no wonder he wanted to get the hell out of there. I do not blame him one bit. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the project as a whole, and what are your thoughts on him landing at Universal and just kind of the whole thing that's
Uh,
going on?
they must have offered him like a very good deal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I saw something somewhere where he asked for like a 95 to 120 day theatrical exclusive window. Um, and they didn't know if they were going to do that or if that was, if that's in the
Well,
cards or not.
the question is then, because Universal can't.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
So I didn't hear
Hmm.
that part, but that would make sense to me.
I thought I saw it somewhere, but
I'm sure
I
you're
might
correct. Oh no, yep, I see it right here in the Deadline article. You're absolutely correct.
okay.
Yeah, rumors are that one of Nolan's stipulations was that he is pushing very hard for a at least 90, but between 90 to 120 day theatrical window. Now the only trick is Regal aside, because they can do anything else. They can do anything they want at anything else, but Universal can only keep a movie theatrical exclusive with AMC for 45 days. And
Mm,
AMC is just one movie provider, or is just one movie house, but it's the biggest movie house. It's the biggest movie theater chain in the entire country.
right.
Well, it's actually the biggest movie theater chain in the entire world. But
Terrible.
if we're just talking about the U.S. for here, um, that is going to be tricky.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that they can discuss
There
with
might be something in the contract, or I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Because who knows how long these talks have been going? I know
Yeah.
this thing with AMC was like maybe a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
I think, but maybe it was something they're already talking about. They worked into the
Yeah.
contract or something. I don't know.
They're gonna need to
But
get
yeah, I'm
Adam Aaron in on this. It's
yeah.
not looking
If
good.
wherever he arrived, I've been surprised. I'm just kind of excited for his next movie.
Hmm.
It'll be interesting to see, just kind of because Universal doesn't have a right. They don't have a service because who are
Oh, well, they
they?
have Peacock.
Their own or are they parent? Okay, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's
So
Comcast.
that's why I was like, because I was like, doesn't Universal is they're owned by
Hmm.
somebody, but I don't know who the
Yeah,
hell they're owned
yeah. We'll be
by.
talking a little bit more about Peacock in a second here.
But yeah, but I don't think his films will end up on Peacock,
Hmm.
and I think they will honor whatever kind of he wants because he brings in the moolah, he brings the goods. So
Yeah,
I think they'll respect that, and yeah, excited for his next movie.
I agree. Yeah, I'm super excited, and about the next movie in particular. Yeah, the concept sounds great. Whatever. Killian Murphy is always in Nolan's movies, but
Hmm.
make him the lead of one of them. I am so excited that he is in talks to star in this, and I
Right,
think that wouldn't be possible without, oddly enough, a day and date released movie, which a lot of people loved him in, which earlier this year, which was Quiet Place Part 2. He was fantastic in that movie, and I think it really catapulted his kind of star a little bit higher to where I
hmm
think he could pull off the starring role, the title role in a Nolan movie, because he's always in them, but he doesn't get the chance to be the main guy. And I would
right.
really love to see him get that opportunity because he's such a fantastic actor. Um, but yeah, so like we just talked about, let's talk about Peacock a little bit more, which is do you know of a little franchise called All Hallows Eve, and specifically Halloween Kills? Have you heard of this?
Yeah. Wait, sorry. What did you?
Have you
All
heard of
Hallows Eve. What did you
yeah, have
say?
you heard of this movie? It's called Halloween and then it's got a sequel coming out called Halloween Kills.
Yes, I have heard of that. Yes.
It's a little tricky though because this is a sequel to Halloween, but Halloween was a sequel to Halloween,
Hmm.
which was 40 years ago.
Right.
But this is this Halloween. Are you following me?
Okay. Yeah, I follow you.
All right. Well, this Halloween trick or treating is going to come home. They're going to bring the candy to you on Peacock. And that is because Halloween Kills is moving to Peacock. Yes. So this is October 15th, the next installment in the Halloween franchise, which is coming off of a greatly received by me, I believe you as well, right? The 2018 one? Yeah,
Yeah, I
a,
like that.
a very, very greatly received from both of us and the community at large. Sequel in 2018's Halloween, and this is going to be day and date, immediate streaming with Peacock and theatrical. Again, just like we're seeing with most of these other vendors and distributors, it's going to be 45-day theatrical, and then Peacock is going to be where you can find that movie, which is it's just the kind of way that I guess the world is working. No, it will be in theaters for chat. It will be in theaters. It is going to be a day and date release. So the same way that Warner Brothers is doing everything. So October 15th, it'll be on Peacock and in
Mm.
theaters, which normally I'd be like, oh, can we stop this? But Peacock has really only dabbled in this with with Boss Baby 2, which
Yeah.
they
What?
did get good numbers on, but I'd like to see a bigger sample size to see if maybe they do something more interesting with the day and date model.
Hmm.
I also think that this is going to be a good chance to actually grow Peacock, um,
Here's the problem
to
with
grow it as
Peacock.
a
It's not
service.
available on all devices. That's the problem.
That
Like
is the
I
problem.
I
Yeah.
don't understand this. Like just get to an agreement with Amazon so you can officially put on the Fire Stick and I don't have to sideload it.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I've talked about this before when I Googled it, how to put when I Googled it to sideload it, there was like a quote that somebody, I forget, like somebody in either company was like, yeah, you're just gonna have to sideload it. Like they
Yeah.
encouraged it, and it's like what
That's so funny.
just reach a deal. Who cares how much, I get it, money, blah blah blah. But it's just like you're missing out on like a big market, like a big share of the market, I feel
Hmm.
like, and it's not on Chromecast either. At least uh it cannot be it cannot be casted from your phone to your TV with Chromecast, I believe. That might have changed since the last time I tried it. But I know it's definitely not available on Fire Stick,
Yeah.
I believe. Again, I could be wrong. It could have changed. But And it's also not an app I use that much. I know it has good stuff on it, but I got, we're juggling a lot of things over here.
No, you're absolutely correct. Hang on, I'm just trying to find something for our next story here.
We might have to do a streaming service rank one day.
We might. That would be a good show. We could have a guest on or something. That would actually be really, really good. But yeah. So that'll do it for the Halloween talk. Next up, we have, again, talking about the theatrical window. Once again, Disney, little company called Disney, they're a startup out of Los Angeles. They have announced that the total rest of their film slate will be releasing exclusively theatrical. No more Disney Plus Premiere access for this year, at least. And I want to get your thoughts after I get your thoughts on the story. I have a pitch for what I want Premiere Access to kind of turn into, what I think it should kind of become, for a way to, because obviously I don't want to pay money to see these movies. I mean, I already pay for, well, I guess theatrically I'm in a better position than others to see movies at a low rate. Yeah. I'll say. But streaming wise, I'm happy to pay the monthly subscription. But the Premiere Access, the only one I ever did was Black Widow. I watched it one other time. I let my friend watch it, and then that was it. I haven't watched it since. I've only seen Black Widow twice. Period. Like, I've only seen it the weekend that it came out, and then once I bought it on Premiere Access. That's it. So the $30 for Premiere Access, not really that worth it to me. But yeah, what are your thoughts? I'm gonna pull a couple things up here, but in that time, what are your thoughts on this news that Disney, at least for the rest of 2021, is gonna go theatrical exclusive?
I think it's a very good idea.
With the 45-day, I should point out.
Oh, right. I think it's a very good idea. I think Shang-Chi definitely kind of, made them feel more secure in this decision. And I think, like a movie like Eternals, I feel like only belongs in a theater. Eternals looks like one I might want to see in IMAX. Just because it just looks like a huge movie. So yeah, I'm not surprised by this decision. And I think if they were to do the whole day and date thing again, I think it would have cut into, I think they know by now that they're not gonna make as much money as if it was day and date.
Yeah.
Or as if it wasn't day and date.
Yeah. As if it was theatrical only.
Right. So I'm not really surprised, and I'm glad they kind of made the decision. Again, it's like a two-sided coin, because it's like it's really good for some people, and it sucks for people that are purists and stuff like that. Then again, like, even if you are you don't have to. It's not hurting your pockets, like going to if it releases same day on a streaming service, it doesn't hurt you to still go to the theater. It hurts the companies.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a matter of them looking at how much money they can make and how much money they're losing out on by putting it on a streaming service the same day, and they're just kind of going with, let's just make as much money as we can.
Yeah. So the thing I was pulling up was I wanted to get the actual. For those who don't know, you can actually go onto the Walt Disney Pictures website, and I don't know exactly how to navigate to it, but for public record, you can actually find always their up-to-date, most current release calendar. A lot of times, like when you see yeah, like I definitely know in like 2019 or something, I've sent you this. It's literally just a Word document. Like it's got no frills on it at all. Yeah. Like, here, hang on, let me actually through the power of our system here, I can pull it up for you guys.
I think I know where you're going with this, and this update to the release schedule, was that something they published, or did somebody just go on here and find it?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. So, let's see. It should be on your screens in 3, 2. There you Yeah, so this is it. This is literally, you could find this on their website. It's literally, no joke, a Word document. And it's kind of both things. So a lot of times when you hear that, like, oh, Disney updated a release date or something like that, or there's a new release date for this, it's people. There are people at every Hollywood trade that just go on this and double check this every day, all the time, like that kind of thing. And they do it for all the studios because all studios' release calendars is public. Well, any company that is public. So because Walt Disney is a publicly traded company, they release this accessible to everyone in the public, to keep everybody updated and know when things might potentially be happening, and keep everybody informed, basically. So you can see right here the remaining 2021 films. Not that much left, but there's still a good amount. These will all be theatrical exclusive, which the first one is The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which, of course, I'm extremely looking forward to.
I'm excited for that, too.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm excited for the talent behind it. Second of all, Jim Baker, I hope there's a scene about the buckets. And also Andrew Garfield looks great in it, and it's leading to some very, very fun. I don't know, did you see the clip of Andrew Garfield on Fallon?
It's going no, but Twitter. All I know is they asked him about Spider-Man again and something about him being a Photoshop or something. Bro, I saw just a tweet.
I've always been confident that they're going to be in it, but my confidence was like 80-20.
I'll be honest.
They're in it.
I will be so happy. This is terrible, but I'll be so happy if they're not in it and everybody just goes nuts. Because I'll just be like, great. You brought on yourself. Yeah. Like
that's very like, that's very Norm Macdonald of you. It's very.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's.
I think it'd be great if they're in it, but if they're not in it, I'd be like, well, I wasn't like, oh my god, like I already know they're gonna be in it. Stuff like that.
If you watch after the show tonight, watch the Fallon clip. Okay. He's in it. He basically has like a laugh panic attack, and he's like, because Jimmy Fallon just basically, other people like Jimmy Kimmel was like, so there's rumors that you and Toby are coming back and stuff. Jimmy Fallon was like, so you're in this movie, right? He was like, there's a leaked video and leaked pictures of you being in this movie. And he was like, what?
This video he's standing on something with a blue screen behind. Right? Yeah. Okay, so people were like,
it's questionable.
Saw like a TikTok. I saw a TikTok and somebody was like, oh, they were like reading his lips or whatever. And they were like, oh, he said that to Toby. I was like, how the fuck do you know that is Toby Maguire standing off screen? Like, what are you talking about?
That's so stupid.
Like, do you have the full widescreen view that you know it's him? Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just annoys me sometimes.
Also, how would you have? Because that image, like, there was a whole thing where that image was released and it was like in 360p, like, very poor quality. And then they kept, like, whoever the leaker was, kept releasing it in increasingly higher and higher resolution, and then released a video in, like, what they say is, like, 4K, which is the one that's circulating now. Do you really think that Disney, or Sony for that matter, would allow a camera capable of recording that to shoot Andrew Garfield that close on his face? Like, just a scene from the movie? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I mean, but anything's possible. But I will say, genuinely based on Andrew Garfield's reaction, I even though from like a tech point of view, that footage, the body, there's minimal body movement. It could totally be a deep fake. Like 100% it could totally be a deep fake. But based on his reaction on Fallon, I really think it's him. I really think the video's real, and I really think that it is him. Which is like crazy, but he basically like has a laughing.
I'll plead one more time. If he is in it, please nobody say anything. Please Marvel, do not put them in the trailer. Please let this be a reveal.
I'm worried about that. I'm very worried about that. But yeah, so then you have The Last Duel, Ron's Gone Wrong, French Dispatch, Antlers, which me and everybody at work thought that came out like 7 months ago.
Dude, I was actually kind of intrigued, and it just kept getting pushed, and then I was like, did it come out?
Well, three managers of a movie theater thought that it already came out, so that should tell you.
I remember getting the poster.
Yeah.
Which is like
in 2019. Yeah. Then we have Eternals, obviously, Encanto, which is the next Pixar one. West Side Story, Nightmare Alley, which actually just had first couple pictures released,
which was
and
some was
The
filmed
King's
here.
Man. Yeah, a good amount. I think it's like all of the exteriors were filmed here. They like turned the area around City Hall into like the 40s. Pretty cool stuff. Buffalo is a happening movie town. But yeah, so I think it's very great news. But yeah, my thing, what I think they should kind of pivot the Premier Access into is kind of a way for them to make a little bit more money if this is what they want to do, which of course they want to make more money. Have the 45-day theatrical, but then don't just put it on Disney Plus for free on the 46th day. Put it on Disney Plus and call it Premier Access or whatever. But let's say there's a 45-day theatrical exclusive. Then let's say there's like a 15-day, so like 2 weeks. Let's say there's a 15-day Premier Access exclusive, and it's you pay like $9.99, and you get Shang-Chi 2 weeks before everybody else. Because for everyone else, on that 45th day, Shang-Chi is gone. You can't see it at theaters anymore. And you can't see it on Disney Plus. It's gone for those 15 days unless you pay for the Premier Access at a much cheaper price of, let's say, like $9.99 or something like that. I think that would be a good way to get people, to get that additional revenue stream for Disney Plus, keep people calm with not such a ridiculously high price tag of like $30 or $40 for the movie. I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, I think that's one way that you could kind of make a little bit more money off of the same kind of release model and keep that 45-day theatrical exclusive. But yeah, that's what I think. All right, let's see. What do we have next? Oh, yes. So, there was a little thing this weekend, or last week? I think it was this past weekend. It might have been Friday or something. The PlayStation event. Do you wanna talk about some of this?
Yeah.
You can pick. We're talking about the big three. So that's Insomniac and Lucasfilm.
Yeah. So we had. I think it was last Thursday. Sony did a PlayStation Direct that they kind of sprinkle out through the year usually. It's probably, I don't even know how many there are usually every year. Maybe like 2 or 3 or something, maybe less. And
I much prefer this over E3 though. Pepper it out over the year, get me excited throughout the year instead of one big event.
And
I love it.
And the pandemic has really empowered Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo to do their own thing.
And EA, really.
And EA and a lot of other bigger developers. But so they kind of start off with all the third-party stuff and not third-party stuff. But they start off with a bunch of, there was like 2 announcements in the beginning. We got the Knights of the Old Republic remake, that was literally the first thing that they did. And then we got a bunch of other games that look cool. And some of them we had seen before. And then it was reaching about it was supposed to be about 40 minutes. So it was reaching about 4:40. It was like 4:41. And everybody was like, oh, what is, where are the big announcements? Because everybody was talking before, like the insiders were like, oh, you should be excited for this. Like this should be something, there's stuff that they're going to talk about that, people have been, I think one reporter was like, people have been asking me about this one thing for like a long time and they're going to talk or something. So the first announcement I think they had was Spider-Man 2, I think. I forget the order. We had a Spider-Man 2 announcement, so sequel to the Spider-Man PS4 game, and as well as Miles Morales, which released with the PlayStation 5. We had an announcement for a Wolverine game, which was completely unexpected. Again, I don't know how Insomniac is putting out these games because they literally just put out Ratchet and Clank like a few months ago, and they put out Miles Morales a few months before that.
They're working hard, man.
They are working very hard. And what's the third one? Spider-Man 2.
Well, I mean,
Wolverine.
You said it earlier, the KOTOR.
Oh, the KOTOR. Yeah.
So let's
now
take
Knights of the
them.
Old, yeah,
Let's take them one at a time. Let's start with Knights of the Old Republic.
okay. That game I do not have a. I've started it. I probably got, I don't know how many hours I got in, but I just stopped playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I will be interested because a lot of people are saying that maybe they don't make it turn based, which I am not a huge turn based combat person.
I saw that they were
Um,
talking about changing the actual
Now I
gameplay
don't know if that's
style.
what they're doing
Well,
because apparently it's not like a remaster. It's like they're kind
they
of
said they're
rebuilding it.
building it from the ground up. Yeah.
Right. So it's not like, oh, we're just gonna, have a
Mm-hmm.
new coat of paint on it. It's gonna look good, but it's still have the same mechanics and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping for that.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
hope it kind of,
I
yeah,
would like a hybrid. Like I don't really
yeah,
like the turn based either, but I also kind of get bored of like the first person or third person type of melee or
yeah.
shooter or however you want to say it. Obviously not a shooter if you're Revan, but Um, so I would like a little bit of a hybrid. I think that would be cool. But
Yeah.
um, let's say the question that everybody asks whenever there's anything with Star Wars.
Okay.
The end of the trailer said a remake of a legendary story. So do we think that means it is going to be Legends and that's what they're hinting at, or do you think that rebuilding it also means just ever so slightly tweaking the story to make it canon? What do you think?
I don't know
Because
because I don't know the full
Revan's
story.
already canon. I'll say this: there are things that I don't know the full detailed story of every beat of the game. I know like
Mhm.
a ton about it and a ton about the game and everything, but I don't know like every detail because I have not played it through, which is why I'm super excited for this and the fact that it's a PS5. What? Oh my god, what is it
Timed
called?
exclusive.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, like that is really cool, and that's gonna make me want to play it, especially if it's gonna be taking full advantage of everything that the PS5 has to offer. Newly expandable storage being one of them. Thank God. Um, but there are, I would say, if you change 5% of this game, story wise,
Mhm.
it'll fit in canon no problem. There's some
Yeah.
things that are like, well, that wasn't invented until then. That doesn't really match up. But if you remove those things or swap them out for something different, that sort of thing, you could make this canon perfectly. I mean,
Mhm.
characters from it like Revan and a couple others, they're already canon. It's just a matter of is the history in this game, is that also going to be canon? Uh,
Mhm.
to me, I might be being too optimistic in this. I think there's not a point of there's no point to Lucasfilm rebuilding this entire game just to make it not canon. When they have the opportunity to change very small things, sure, you're going to upset some people because they're like, I wanted a exact remake or whatever, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
you can't please everybody. If you
Yeah.
change very minor things, you can make this immensely fan favorite, like huge fan favorite title canon.
Right.
Which personally, that's just what I think they're gonna do. But I mean, I could be wrong, and we won't know for
Mhm.
years.
Yeah. I
But
didn't
yeah.
even, and I didn't know. I feel like I saw some things that the second one was not as well received as the first one. I thought they were both kind of on the same uh,
Oh yeah,
level
like
where
level.
they people loved both of them, but I guess that was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next announcement, I think, because I know they ended with God of War, but I'm pretty sure I'm out of order. But the next announcement was, I believe, the Wolverine game, which was just a quick kind of teaser. Uh,
Yeah,
they're
it
in a
was
bar
literally,
and
yeah, it's literally what you guys are looking at right now. It's the
yeah, so
claws at a
they're in
bar.
a bar and the claws come out and that's about it. Which had a lot of people thinking, and I've also thinking, is this Insomniac or Sony setting up their own kind of MCU game universe? Which I think would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, like, does this lead? I know we already have the Avengers game, but can you take that? Now, I don't know how that whole thing works. Like, can you make, if we're going to lead up to that at some point, can you make an Avengers game without kind of stepping on the toes of Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix and what they've done with their own Avengers game? Um, that I'm not sure about.
I think
Um,
you'd be allowed to only because you could say the same thing about Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics for bringing Spider-Man into the Avengers game.
Right.
So I
Yeah,
think
because
I think it
Sony.
would be okay
Yeah.
to go the other way.
Right.
I just want to know, how are the rights working with all this stuff? Because I just naturally assumed, Spider-Man game, because that Sony has sole ownership over
Right.
that. Is this a deal? Because yes, obviously Kevin Feige is the mastermind behind the movies, but what people may not know is Kevin Feige is also chief creative officer at Marvel, not Marvel
Yeah.
Studios, Marvel, the everything
Mhm.
side of things. So did they have to strike a deal with Feige on this to get Wolverine, or is there a different deal
Probably.
for video games? Like that
I
that's what
think
I'm
it's
interested
because
in.
I think Marvel just is licensing out their characters.
Yeah.
Um, right. So again, I'm no expert in any of this. But so I think they just kind of license their characters out to Crystal Dynamics to make the Avengers game, and you could do the same thing probably with Sony. And again, that'd be a big because Sony has their Marvel kind of thing. Like obviously, their Avengers is on PC, Xbox stuff, but Spider-Man, very good game.
Hmm.
Uh, Spider-Man 2, probably going to be another very good game. And Wolverine, probably going to be another very good game. And then we have obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy game is on all platforms.
Hmm.
But I'm interested to see kind of, and I've seen some talk about this, like maybe how does Xbox counter? Like, who do they go to DC and say, hey, we want to make a standalone. I don't even
Universe,
know.
even
Or
like.
not a standalone. Sorry. Yeah, or even like the universe. Like I want to see if
Hmm.
Sony kind of builds within probably I don't know if Insomniac can
Yeah.
develop every single game, but if they create their own Insomniac MCU with all
Yeah.
these little different
That'd
characters
be
and then maybe
awesome.
that game combining them. And then of course that kind of leads us into the Spider-Man 2 announcement, which everybody's been looking forward to. We get kind of Miles and Peter on the same screen at the same time finally, and then we see kind of Venom emerge from the shadows, who is voiced by the guy who played Candyman in the original Candyman,
Hmm. Tony
which I
Todd
thought was
also
really cool.
played
Yep.
Zoom in The Flash on CW.
Oh, okay.
Crazy good
Um,
voice.
One thing that is, although I probably wouldn't have done it, it is single player.
Hmm.
So although you might think it would be multiplayer because of Miles and Peter, it is single. But I'm assuming you'll probably play as both of those characters, and maybe even Venom. I think that'd be really cool if you played as all three. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that Venom is not the main
Yeah,
antagonist
I
in
think
this
it's gonna
game.
end in a team up.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think this game, I think it's 2023 or 2024.
23, luckily.
Um, 23.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for these. Again, the Wolverine game was a shock because I did not see that coming. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody saw that coming. Um, and of course, we got more. Obviously, it's movies, but we got a lot of more footage of God of War, the sequel to God of War 2018, which I'm really excited
Hmm.
about. But yeah, a lot of games coming.
Oh yeah, very very cool. The only thing I'm worried about with the Wolverine game is
Yeah.
like one of the things that Spider-Man lends himself and has always lent himself to being
Hmm.
great for a video game is how quick he can travel. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's the motion element. It's the actual
Yeah.
going places. Because that's the thing, is that like a video game is great when you're doing a great level and stuff. But kind of like the Avengers game, a big problem with the Avengers game is you're like, oh, I'm doing a mission, and then you're like, all right, the mission's over, and now I'm watching what they consider to be not a load screen, but oh, why am I spending 5 minutes watching the Avengers just sitting on a Quinjet? You know what I mean? Like, and then you go
Yeah.
in
No,
like,
I think that's solved with because I think it's going to be because it's not online. Like one of the things is with Avengers, it's an online, always on most of the
true,
time. Like without the
yeah,
single player campaign, you're playing online with friends doing these different missions. So you need time to load all that, you know, each person, everything in. Wolverine's single player, I'm assuming,
hmm
obviously, or I'm assuming 99% sure. Um, and I forget if they said it's going to be a smaller
what if it's
what?
like I just was thinking, I
Oh,
was like, what if it's like Red Dead but with Logan?
that would be cool.
That would be
That would be
awesome.
very cool.
Because that's what I'm thinking is like,
Yeah.
I don't want to lose the open world aspect. I hope it's an open world game.
I've heard I'm not sure what they said, but I forget because there's people saying will it be condensed, like kind of Miles Morales was a little bit smaller, or will it be a world like 2018 Spider-Man, where it's sprawling in a big city and everything. I would have to imagine it's got to be smaller, because just this like Spider-Man 2 is probably going to be a very big game. Yeah. So you have to think that Wolverine is probably going to be a little bit like Miles Morales size. But again, I could be wrong.
Well, one thing that I could counterpoint kind of your point and my own point with is, yes, I think logically speaking, I think it would make sense to be a smaller game. But if they really put themselves out there and say, no, we're not compromising on this game. Spider-Man's not the only character that we can make a good game of. If they take that kind of a stand, like almost like put their foot in the sand, you know what I mean, type of thing, or put their foot in the, whatever the saying is that I'm trying to say, and they're like, no, we're not going to cheapskate on this. We are making a big, huge, whopping Wolverine game, and you're going to like it. You know what I mean? Like, if they did that, I'd be like, you know what? Bravo. No matter how good the game is, I got to respect that. Like, that would be really cool. But yeah, super excited for all three of those announcements. Obviously, like, just so good. Especially the Wolverine one. Like, you were keeping me updated because I was at work and then I was on my way to work and then I was at work, so I was like missing the conference and I was like but then I went back and I rewatched the big three announcements and everything. I was holding out a little bit of hope. I know you were holding out hope for Sly Cooper. I was holding a little hope of just like, because obviously it's well documented, like what's it called? Rift Apart for Ratchet and Clank. Like, they crushed it. Yeah. Like, that was a huge game for the PS5. I was hoping for a little bit of just like maybe like a wrench that says 2025 or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I was like, just a little tease, but maybe it's way too soon for that. But I'm sure at this point, it will not be another decade or 6 or 7 years type of thing until we get the next Ratchet and Clank game, because this, like I said, this Rift Apart, it was huge for the PS5. I mean, the sales were like through the roof and everybody loved it. So it's like, like you said, Sony better be giving Insomniac enough money to triple their staff. Like, just hire everybody. Just hire everybody that they can to work on these games as hard as possible. Yeah. But, within their rights as workers and human beings. Please don't kill game developers.
No crunch.
Yeah, no crunch. Speaking of crunch, though, TJ recently had to crunch his catching up of the hit television series What If. So he is caught up on it. And we also got a little mid-season trailer. We didn't do a reaction to it because we don't normally do reactions to the mid-season trailers, because it's just kind of like...
I didn't watch it, so...
Yeah, well, I'll show. Do you have the stream up? Because I'm about to pull up all the images that are kind of important.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, so these are really the main ones. A lot of it was footage that we've already seen. But these right here are kind of the main images that people are taking away from. And this kind of tells us two things. One is kind of what we had suspected from little bits and pieces of the marketing material in the past, that everybody's like, oh, these episodes are, well, some people say some of them are good, some people say some of them are great. I think they've all been either good or great. I still think episode 1 was the weakest, only because they did the least amount with the concept, and I get that.
With the story.
You're dipping your toe into the water, so I get that they had to do that. I'm not having that as a knock against the episode at all. I really like Peggy, obviously, as the hero.
1 and 2 are basically just like character replacements almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like 1 is literally just replacing a character. 2 is replacing a character, but also here's how it affects things. 3 is just balls to the wall, everything's different, what the hell's going on. And then 4 is a masterpiece of sadness and depression. And 5 is also very, very good. But a big thing that people were wondering is, for people who haven't been paying as much attention to the marketing material, is, are these just one-offs? Are we never going to see these guys again? Or are they coming back? Well, in the very first trailer, you see a shot of all of them teaming up. So, people that watch that know, yeah, a lot of them are coming back. And we get confirmation of that here, which we see up in the top. Let's go top left down. So we have Party Thor, who they're referring to, or Thor, who they're referring to as Party Thor. He's clean shaven. Apparently, he's been hanging out in Las Vegas. We have yet to meet Party Thor in What If, but he's going to be part of the team up. Then we see Evil Doctor Strange, who I'm assuming in the team up probably maybe isn't going to be that evil. If you've seen the end of the episode, he kind of has a little bit of buyer's remorse with that spell.
I also, I'll be honest, don't know how he's there.
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, I think we're going to get the Watcher kind of being like plucking people out.
Okay, yeah.
That kind of thing. But yeah, so we get the two of them teaming up. Then we see, again, I'm going off the names of the Funko Pops because a lot of them have already gotten released for characters that we haven't met yet.
Korg in the middle?
Yeah, I'll get to him in a second. Okay. But if you go down to the bottom left, you have post-apocalyptic Black Widow, which is what the Funko Pop is called. Then you have Gamora, daughter of Thanos, which is some sort of evil version of Gamora that is wearing Thanos' armor and has Thanos' sword. And then next to her, you have Peggy Carter, Captain Carter. But as I showed TJ earlier, she's actually wearing the Captain Carter version of Steve's Winter Soldier stealth suit. So this is like, because at the end of episode 1, if you watched, she, just like Steve did, she wakes up and she comes back, well, she actually a different way, but she winds up in the modern day again, working for S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think it's really cool that she got kind of the same sort of navy and silver stealth suit that Steve got. I think that's really cool. And her hair is a little more modern and stuff too. Then we have something that I really hope is not going to be as emotional as the movie, which is Tony doing the snap in the What If style there. And then, like you said, we have Korg dancing on Sakaar with a cut.
He's doing the robot.
Yeah, he's doing the robot. He's got Mantis there, whose face is cut off in the bottom right of that picture. Then you have what looks to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, a Skrull in the background of the left, and a couple Asgardians, and a couple more aliens. And Korg has a baby's binky in his mouth. So I'm not sure what the hell is going on, but I am very excited to see that. And then bottom left, we have
bottom right.
Bottom right, yeah, we have what looks to be Shuri and Pepper Potts gearing up for some sort of battle, which Pepper looks like she is ready to go. And I think that is going to be from this week's thing, because if you look there, Shuri looks very young. And Pepper is wearing almost the identical hairstyle and dress that she was wearing in the first Iron Man.
And it's also Killmonger saving Tony Stark, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the Killmonger saves Tony. Like, what if Iron Man never happened? Basically, that's this episode, right. Which is really, really cool. And then top right there, that is, so if you look really close, I know it's small, but so that's Hawkeye in his Endgame getup. He's kind of wearing a Hawkeye suit, but with his Endgame, mohawk hair. But actually, the thing that he is in, if you look at the little platforms and stuff around him,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
He's actually in the thing from Civil War. Yeah, yep. he's in the like Siberian Winter Soldier base. Yes, which is very interesting. I'm glad you knew that right away too, because I was that's got to be what that is. It's the little trapezoid things that, like, I mean, you can't forget Tony, Steve, and Bucky like slamming their bodies on those as they all three fall down. So maybe it's what if Civil War went a different way? Maybe that's an episode that we're gonna get, or something like that, or maybe it's something where like Civil War never happened, so maybe Hawkeye's maybe they have to recruit the other Winter Soldiers who in this timeline are still alive down there. Anything's possible, but that is very cool. It's very cool to see Clint in that space. Yeah. So, because it's like, why? And that's the best thing. That's the best thing to me about What If has provided us is, what the hell is Clint doing in that scene from Civil War? How do we get there? Like, I cannot wait for this. And it's like, and that's something that shot of Clint is something that, like, some of these other ones we've gotten hints at before, but that shot of Clint, we have no idea what episode that could be. We have no idea what the What If is going to be. We have no idea about any of that. But yeah, that is so cool to me. I just can't wait.
One thing I just wanted to bring up real quick about
Yeah.
what I liked about What If, I just caught up last night with Danielle. I liked how in the most recent episode, the zombie one, there's some brutal kills in there.
Yeah.
I was very shocked that was on
Sam,
that it was on Disney
especially
Plus.
Sam's
Yes,
death.
Sam gets cut in half,
Oof.
I believe.
Yeah.
And
Steve also cut in half. A different direction cut in half, but
right, yeah. But yeah, I was just kind of happy to, I don't know, I don't know what the term is. I guess happy to see that kind of brutality on Disney Plus, because they've been so kind of, Disney Plus very family focused. I feel like is a majority.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I liked seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's end off with let's just do a little bit of Hawkeye talk, just very brief, and then we have one more story, and then we'll wrap things up here. So we got the first official look at the Hawkeye trailer. And if you want to know or actually, if you want to know TJ's thoughts, yeah, because I slept through it a little bit. You can check out the trailer reaction, which is on the channel right now. But yeah, I mean, I'll say, because I haven't talked about it yet, I really enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was really good. I actually thought, if I have one complaint, I think the sound mixing was a little off. I feel like the song, as great as it was the Christmas song, the whole Christmas trailer, I think the song was a little loud. Like it was so loud you couldn't hear some of the dialogue, and even some of the sound effects were a little bit loud that it was a little hard to hear some of the dialogue. If you weren't like paying really laser focused attention to it. But overall, I really liked it, and I'm very much looking forward to the series. But you have to tell me, so what, apparently John Campea did not like this. He went on a classic Campea rant, is that correct?
Yeah, he said he was not a fan of the trailer. Not that he doesn't like, he was like, not that I'm saying, that the show won't be good or anything. He just did not like the trailer at all.
Oh, God.
I like the trailer, as I stated in the reaction. But I'm hoping that this gets me more on the Hawkeye bandwagon. Because like I've stated multiple times, I just not a fan of. I'd never really cared for him. Same with Black Widow. Again, like at the end of Endgame, or when she sacrificed herself, I just kind of felt like I was like, oh, okay, And the Black Widow movie kind of made me, brought me a little bit more to caring about her, but not as much as I think would have if she had a solo movie, about 6 years ago. So I'm hoping that this show kind of, brings me along and kind of helps me appreciate it more. And okay, so real quick, I knew I was wrong. I was like, Kate Bishop. In my head, I was like, not his daughter, but I was like, is she his daughter at some point in the comics or no? Is that true?
No, she's
okay, so I got that wrong.
So
she
comes from a different. Well, she comes from. She's just kind of like an outsider. It's actually pretty similar to how it is in the trailer. She comes like the Bishops are like a well-to-do, like they're like a business empire type like family thing. Like she like comes from wealth, tries to run from it, that kind of thing. Which there is going to be for sure elements of that in this show. But yeah, it's that kind of same thing. She's kind of she knows of Hawkeye and stuff. They're kind of going more like the Spider-Man route, where like she's kind of like a mega fan type thing in this, which I think is great. Rogers the musical and all that. They need to produce that now. That needs to be a real thing. But yeah, she's just basically like just another Archer. Like she's not really connected to anybody until then. Again, for this show and just in general, read the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run. It's without it, it's pretty much universally, known as it's the best Hawkeye run that they've ever done. And it's heavily about Clint and Kate, and it is basically the main basis for this show, with certain changes and stuff, because it's the MCU versions of everything. But yeah, it's a big basis for this actual show. With the tracksuit mafia and stuff like that, and potentially Kingpin showing up in.
I was just saying. So do we know?
Series.
That's the other thing I said in the reaction. I was like, do we know who the villain's gonna be? Do we know?
So the villain is going to be like the main villain. Okay, so there's like an organization of villains called the Tracksuit Mafia, who are like
Okay.
in the Matt Fraction comic book. The Tracksuit Mafia is trying to basically, like, Clint is a landlord basically of a apartment complex, and the Tracksuit Mafia are trying to push out the tenants so that they can buy the land.
Okay.
And in that, the Tracksuit Mafia ends up that they're working for Kingpin. So it's kind of like Kingpin, a couple other people are involved in that. So then, flash forward to the show, we have Echo, who is a okay, real nerd out moment here. So Echo is in this. She's the woman that you see in the red light. Like, you just see the close up of her face. That's Echo. There's already rumors that she's going to be getting her own Disney Plus series, which would be really cool. That gives a lot of confidence in that character and the performance, apparently. But yeah, so it basically she is kind of a mentor slash partner teacher type role. Like, it kind of varies depending on the version of Clint, but also more importantly, Echo in the comics, she was the original Ronin. She was who Clint got the suit from and stuff. And as you see from the trailer here, you know, his past as Ronin has not escaped him. It's going to be a huge part of this series, obviously. And basically, the person who trained Echo to be Ronin and to train her in the first place was Wilson Fisk, who also ran the Tracksuit Mafia and all that. So kind of a lot of the stuff in this, if you put one together and you put one together, you get Wilson Fisk. You know what I mean? Right. So I think, and we've had rumors, and not just rumors from Joe's Movie Farts. This is THR rumors, Deadline rumors, that Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio from Daredevil, is going to appear in this show. Again, not confirmed, obviously, nothing like that. But yeah, and I don't think it will be a coincidence if maybe he shows up in the second to last episode of this, because the second to last episode of this takes place, or will come out on the exact same week that Spider-Man No Way Home will come out, who, again, will, that is, rumored to have Charlie Cox reprising Daredevil in that. So anything's possible. I think that would be very, very cool if they do that. Yeah, so the second to last episode of Hawkeye comes out on December 15th, and then Spider-Man No Way Home comes out 2 days later. So how cool would it be if they have Wilson Fisk show up in the penultimate episode of Hawkeye as, like, the big bad, and then boom, 2 days later you get to see Matt Murdock again, and they're like, yep, we have the Netflix characters back, here's the 1-2 punch, we're bringing Daredevil back, like that. Oh my god, that would be so awesome. Who knows, maybe even Daredevil will show up in Hawkeye, because, like, when Hawkeye is in New York, he's in the realm of, like, Elektra, Daredevil, Bullseye, Echo, Kate Bishop, like, all of them, they're all kind of in that same realm as each other, of, like, basically the skilled marksman type thing, like, living in New York.
Right.
So I think any of that would be very, very cool. But yeah. All right, so let's end off with our last topic here, and it's going to be it's a little bit of a news topic, but also we're just going to talk about, because this season has been incredible so far, and we're both fully caught up right now, and that is that over at Apple TV Plus, Ted Lasso has been renewed, thank Lord, for a season 3, and Jason Sudeikis, who is, writer, executive producer, obviously main star and sometimes director of Ted Lasso. He was making $300,000 per episode for the first 2 seasons. He is now going to be making $1 million an episode. So Jason Sudeikis is getting a huge raise for the third season, which obviously makes a lot of sense. The show has absolutely crushed it for Apple TV Plus. It is consistently one of the most Emmy-nominated shows. He is fantastic in it. He's already won awards for it. The reviews are incredible. This show just deserves all the love in the world. And Jason Sudeikis, and I'll throw it to you right after I say this, because we're going to talk a little bit about how season 2 has been going so far. Jason Sudeikis deserves $10 million an episode. Like, that man, especially this past week,
Oh yeah.
His performance on the phone call, I don't know if we should spoil what he says on it, but the phone call at the end of the episode, you get something revealed that has kind of been a touchy subject for Ted throughout the past 2 seasons, but you get something revealed that is like extremely heartbreaking, and you're just like, oh my god. And you really feel for Ted and all that stuff, and it's really brought on by Jason Sudeikis' performance. But yeah, what do you think about the season 3 renewal, the raise and everything with that?
Real quick, just to pivot on Apple TV real quick. Did you check out Morning Show?
Oh yes, I actually was going to bring that up in the beginning of the show, then forgot, and then I was like, well, I missed the opportunity.
Did you like it? Just real quick, did you?
Yeah,
like it,
so I watched the morning show, and I was really against Apple TV Plus, but I was like, whatever. Like I said, it was light on streaming services, so I was going to the other ones. So yeah, I watched it. I loved it. I think the morning show is honestly, it's there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it is amazing, and also I picked my timing great, because season 2 starts this week.
Yes. So, and I saw you checked out the Joseph Gordon-Levitt show as well.
Yeah, Mr. Corman, which I thought was good, but not as great as I was hoping for. I found myself checking my phone a lot throughout the first episode. It's just kind of like, I really wanted a gripping, not that we've never seen anything about a depressed teacher before, as if there's not 1,000 things like that. But I was really hoping that he would do something interesting with it, because again, this is like kind of a passion project of his. He's like executive producer, that kind of thing. I feel like I watched 2 episodes of it. He doesn't really do anything interesting with it, at least at this point. And that kind of disappointed
I wasn't going to
me.
check that one out, but I just was curious what you thought.
Yeah, that kind of disappointed me. But again, and I'll also give a shout out to on Hulu, Only Murders in the Building, which actually just got picked up for a second season.
Yeah,
it is fantastic.
Very good.
It is so good. And again, I give a shout out to him again. Martin Short is in both the morning show and Only Murders in the Building. Fantastic in both. He is, without saying anything else, he is an amazing dramatic actor, and he is like despicable in the morning show, and like. It plays very against type. His character is in 2 time periods, and it's before something happens to him, and then after something happens to him. And the difference between those 2, and you see the after first, which is cool. You see the darker side first, and then later on you see, oh, this is how he was before. And he's so very Martin Short and like, like all that stuff. And then it's like you realize that, it's the whole basis of the show. He got Me Too'd kind of in the first wave of the Me Too movement. And you see how he is now kind of living in seclusion type of thing, like in seclusion with his giant tennis court and his giant mansion and everything because he's a celebrity. But still... And then later in the season, you see him before it happens, and he's like very like he's all like playful with like the ladies and stuff, and you're just like, and you feel kind of the dark twistedness, even though no way that it's written and no way that Martin Short plays it, do you ever get the sense that anything's going on. But the fact that you have the knowledge that something is going on colors every scene in that episode in such a dark light. Even though if you didn't have the context, you would just think, oh, it's just 2 people having a conversation. It's just this cool Martin Short character type of thing. But because you have that context from earlier in the season, that otherwise normal conversation is so dark and like chilling, honestly. It's really incredible. And then Steve Carell, of course. Steve Carell, Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, and big, huge, massive shout out to Billy Crudup and and Mark Duplass. Billy Crudup and Mark Duplass are the absolute MVPs of this show. They are so good. I love their characters so much. I mean, it's just they're fantastic, both of them. But yeah, back to Ted Lasso. Sorry.
Go back to Ted Lasso, and if you had watched Santa Claus 3, you know Martin Short, good villain.
Oh yeah.
I agree with everything you said about that. It is first season was very I can't remember if there was any. I think like the biggest kind of sadness was, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but just kind of Ted and another character's kind of situation with each other and him moving to England and the relationship that they have.
Yeah.
That was probably the saddest it got, which it wasn't really that sad because, it was all, they still saw each other and everything. And I'm probably giving it away anyway. But this season kind of, we had the Christmas episode, which I thought was good. I believe it was episode 4 or 5 of the season. And since the Christmas episode, we've slowly gotten a little kind of darker and, a little bit more just upsetting each episode. And
that's a good word for it, upsetting.
Yeah, and this episode kind of just culminated all of that with multiple different characters as well, not just Ted. Like Jamie Tart had his own thing.
Jamie's great this year. Roy too is like
yes. Roy had his
Rebecca too.
Rebecca, not as much sad or anything, but kind of dealing with what they've been going through the entire season. And
Sam is really good this year.
Sam, and it's Coach Beard, who at the end of this episode was like, okay, he's gonna have something's gonna happen the next episode.
The next episode's about him.
The next episode is about him. So I was like, okay. And I'm really interested to see like where they go at the end of the season. And
is there going to be any hope?
And even I forget who's the psychiatrist? What's her name again?
Oh yeah, Dr. Sharon.
Even her, like she is stuff she's dealing with, and she's a very relatively character.
Yeah,
like we only met her, I think, like episode 2 or so of this season. So we're still learning stuff about her, and and that moment that you're talking about with Ted, like I welled up a little bit because I've never experienced anything like that, but that just like it hit me because they've been building to that, and it's something that with the show has been, even with Jamie and his kind of situation, I felt that too. And again, that's something I've never had to deal with, but the show is very good at kind of building to something, and then it really pays off. I think.
Absolutely.
And I also heard, like, I watched when the season 2 premiered, when they were going around doing like press, Jason Sudeikis and Brendan Hunt. I swear Jason Sudeikis said they only had plans for 3, which really upsets me.
Oh.
But yeah, which is like,
God,
wow, season 2's almost over.
I know,
But granted, I don't want them to wear this idea thin because
true.
Me personally, when this show was announced, I was like, so you're going to take a character from 2 commercials on NBC for Premier League and you're going to turn it into a show. And I was like, how is that even possible?
Yeah,
and they've done it with flying
colors. Turns out it's one of the best shows like of all time.
Right? Yeah, on TV right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would just be devastated if it didn't go a little bit longer. But then again, I don't want them to like wear out.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's kind of a gimmick. Like this football coach from America is coaching this football team in Europe, and it just doesn't really make any sense, but they make it make sense.
There was a little bit because it's been like almost 2 years now at this point.
Yeah,
like that he's been there, like because we're at like the tail end of kind of his second season coaching. Like the big joke in the first season, of course, and in all the commercials was that like he doesn't understand the rules and stuff. But because he's been there for like 2 years, he's kind of getting more used to it. But there was a kind of break in this most recent episode where he was like, I still don't understand the damn rules. It's like, and I was like, there's season 1 Ted again. I was like, it was so funny.
And you could probably tell from that episode, but that is no small feat for a championship 1 team to make it to that level of the competition. Like that is no small feat. And for some reason I had some spoiler. I had some, ridiculous idea that they would win that game. They did not.
Yeah.
Even though I like knew the team they're going up against, it's it's been a team that I've kind of followed for a few years. So I kind of knew. I figured that they smacked. I'm surprised they didn't make the score a little higher.
What was it? Real players, or were they all actors?
Not real players, but the referee you see is a real referee.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I know that the announcers are real.
The announcers are real, like I said before. Yeah, and they do a lot of Premier League games on NBC. Yeah. But no, the players are not real. The teams are real, or except Richmond.
Yeah.
Richmond definitely not a real team. But yeah, I like this show is it's so much better than I thought. Like it makes me so happy that it's so good.
Absolutely.
And I'll be so sad when it ends.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Well,
yeah.
I think that'll do it for this episode.
All right. Last thing, real quick.
Yeah.
I urge you. I haven't checked this out, but I'm going to check it out. I urge you to check out Mythic Quest on Apple TV. I've heard it's good with
That's the one
Rob
with like
McElhenney.
Nick Kroll. Oh, Rob McElhenney.
With their like game developers.
Right. Yep.
Apparently, it's very good.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if did you hear this thing that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought like this like club in like Europe, this like soccer club.
Yeah, they mentioned
they're like
it
making like a
Ted
documentary
Lasso.
or something, right?
Yeah, they mentioned it in Ted
they
Lasso.
made a joke about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aren't they like making a documentary or something?
I think so.
Or they making
yeah,
like a show?
about it.
Okay.
I think it's
that's Apple, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I want to talk about is Ted Lasso also not afraid to take shots on political statements and stuff like that.
Oh,
they did that like twice in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
About kneeling and everything like that, which I thought was really cool. And it kind of plants their flag and shows you maybe where Jason Sudeikis is in his real life views, which I thought was cool. But yeah, fantastic show. Please don't end too soon.
True. And that will bring us to the end of this great show, of this fantastic show, which was episode 55 of the Planet Film live show. So thank you guys so much for joining us again. Like we kind of talked about at the beginning, follow us on both our Instagram and our TikTok at @theofficialpfn. Also follow us on Twitter at @theofficialpfn. We're putting out a lot of content on our Instagram as well as our TikTok. We're trying to post, a couple times a week with some edited content and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, we are 4 subscribers away from 300. And that is a huge milestone. The fact that you guys have taken us in just over like 5 months from 50 subscribers to 300 subscribers, that is absolutely outrageous. I really, really appreciate it. And, obviously, people go from 100 subscribers to 25,000 overnight. But that's with a viral video. The fact that we have had the slow grow and the steady build up to 300 this fast without a huge video going viral and that type of thing, really, we really appreciate that. Because, if we get to like 300, 500, 1,000 subscribers and then we have a video that hits huge, that's what happens. That's how YouTube, channels really explode. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you guys are part of that. You guys are just as much part of that as we are. So we appreciate it again. That'll do it for me. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
And I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about any of the stories in the comments below. Maybe what you thought of. You watched Ted Lasso. What'd you think of the most recent Lasso episode? And check out our reactions on the channel. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.